Hello, NJCU OSP students. I'm so happy that you are in my class, and even happier still that we will be together, but very sad that I am unable to be with you today. Okay, so it might be a little hard to see, but I wanted to give an introduction. I wanted to lead you through the syllabus. I have shared all of that with you this morning. Um, and I really do apologize that I can't be there in person, at least for today, possibly tomorrow, because I did test positive for COVID, although I am feeling far, far better. So, welcome to week one, class one of the language of power and social justice. And congratulations for your admittance into this program and to New Jersey City University. I'm not going to pretend to tell you that the next 4 years of your life aren't going to have their difficulties, but you will find that at the end of that fourth year, you will be a graduate of New Jersey City University, and you will be an expert in whatever field you have chosen to study and a better person for it. Because just keep in mind that growing hurts, and that includes your brain. If you're not challenged, if you're not made to feel uncomfortable, then you're not learning, then you're not growing as a person. And these next 4 years definitely will provide obstacles, and you will be challenged and you will be uncomfortable, but hang in there because you can do it. Okay, so let's start with a little bit of background information. I always like to share pictures of my family because I think it's really fun. Um, so 2 years ago, when COVID started, we were in lockdown, and my daughter was supposed to get married June 21st of 2020. Well, she didn't even get to pick up her wedding gown because we were in lockdown. But she came to myself and my husband and she was like, listen, it's the marriage that's important, not the wedding. So his family, her family, and the priest, there were 10 of us in the church because that's what we were allowed. And she got married. So this is me. This is my daughter, Madeline. This is my husband, Chris, in the bright green shorts with the blue whales on them and the lovely non tanned ankles. This is my son in law, Tim. Yes, he is that goofball, and he adds so much to our lives, and I am so fortunate that he is a part of our family. This is my son, who at the time was in California. He works for Apple Corporate. But when the whole entire universe shut down, he was also locked down. But once he was able to get the first vaccination, he flew home, and his story will be the next slide. But for this, he came home for his sister's wedding. Um, and this is my gang here, and they're running attire because they do run together all the time. I am the picture taker. That is all I am, because I do not run because I hate it and find it the most boring thing in the world. So if you're a runner, more power to you. I do go to the gym 3 times a week and I do my best to keep myself healthy, but running is just not an option. And I thought this was a cool picture to attach because this is my friend Micah, the owl, who lives in my pine tree in my yard and visits every July with his new brood of babies. And yes, every second week of July, he is in there. Last summer, it was with 6 little owlets, and it was pretty cool. So, this is myself and my daughter at the Justin Bieber concert that we finally got to go to after lockdown. Because, yes, she is a lifelong lover of the Biebster. And I have to say, he wasn't awful. Like, I do enjoy going to his concerts. This is my puppy Delilah. We go everywhere together, as you can see, because despite 2 weddings for 2 kids, I have no grandbabies yet, but I'm ever hopeful. This is the only picture I have right now because my son just got married in May. Um, And this is his bride Elizabeth, also godsend to our family. We really enjoy having her. So if I were to tell you a little bit about myself, in terms of who I am, nouns. I am a mom, a wife, a friend, a sister, an aunt, a teacher, a student, a crafter, and a lifelong learner. And I really pride myself on being a lifelong learner. I think that that's important because there are no amount of degrees, no amount of information that you can get, um, that you can't keep adding to. Um, when I became a parent, I read tons of parenting books. I read teacher education things all the time. I write things now for teacher education journals. Um, I'm always learning. I always want to learn. So, to that end, let's do some introductions of yourself. If you would kindly open up your laptops, if you have them, and email me. It's T Tallman at njcu.edu and answer the following questions. So, if you were to pay attention to your habits, what are the ones that you pride yourself on, and which are the ones that you would like to change? So, the first one is your habits. So, let me see if I can insert a slide here to help you out. Okay. Getting to know you. So again, it's T. Coleman at njcu.edu. It doesn't look like it's dark enough. Okay, so the first one, if you were to describe yourself by your habits, which do you pride yourself on? And which would you like to change? I'm the only one that's going to be reading these. So you don't have to hold back. And this is a pause so that you can open up your laptops, your cell phones, whatever you can email me on. And if you have nothing, put it on a piece of paper and you can share it with me when I return or later when you get back to your dorm. But please do share. Okay, the second is your accomplishments. What are you most proud of? And what would you like to achieve? The third, what are your outside, if I can spell it, school activities? What do you do other than school? And it's okay if it's work, a rec basketball league, a pickup, soccer game once a week, shopping, getting your nails done, binge watching a show, reading something, whatever your outside school activities are, I would love to know them. And then a pow and a wow. A pow is share with me a sad experience that you've had, because people's lives are full of sad things too, and it's okay to talk about them. Um, and a wow experience, an awesome moment, something that gave you great joy. And then finally, if you would like to take an opportunity one of the days after we have dismissed to have lunch together, let me know that. It's okay if you don't. It's okay if you want to give yourself some time and get back to me next week. Um, don't have to talk shop. We do not need to discuss school or class, but we most certainly can if you would like it more of a one on one conference time. That's totally okay too. I would just like to get to know all of you, and it can be with more than one of you at a time. If there's a, if there's a group of you that would like to sit and have lunch with me, let me know that and we can work that out. Okay, so one more time, your habits. Which do you pride yourself on, and which would you like to change? So, turnabout's fair play. I guess I have to answer these questions if I'm asking them, right? So, I pride myself on my morning routine. I really like to get up about 5:45 every morning, whether I have to be somewhere or not, with the exception of the last couple of days that I've just been sleeping off a fever due to COVID. So, thank you. Um, I like to have a cup of coffee. I like to say my prayers. I like to reflect on the day ahead and the day that's passed. I like to do some self reflection on where I can grow as a person that day, where I may have done things the day before that I can improve upon, um, and really kind of living that adage that joy is a choice. You choose to have joy. Joyful moments don't happen because great things happen to you. Joyful moments happen because you want to see the joy in the moment. So I pride myself on that morning routine. um One in which I like to change, my sweet tooth. I really do need to lose a little bit of weight to make myself a happier person on the inside. um which means I really need to give up sugary sweets, but it's a vice. I can't help it. So the second question were your accomplishments. What are you most proud of? And what would you like to achieve? I have to say I'm most proud of my two children. They give me abounding joy. They are great people. They have added good things to the earth, and I have put two adults into the world that are doing good things. So they are definitely what I am most proud of. And what would I like to achieve? Might sound kooky, but my bucket list is winning a medal in horseback riding. So I am, in fact, taking horseback riding lessons. And it doesn't have to be an Olympic medal because that's not going to happen at 53. Um, but some type of metal. I want to challenge myself to do that. And I also want to play in some kind of ensemble that I can get really good at playing the cello. So I'm also taking cello lessons because it's an instrument I decided I wanted to master. And I want to master it enough that I can play with a small group of people. I don't know, at church, outside at a park, somewhere where someone asks me to play and I can be part of a little wind ensemble. Outside school activities. I work at two universities. So there are very few outside school activities, but I love to play the piano, obviously. I am learning to love to play the cello. I'm learning to love horseback riding. I'm big into crafts, knitting, crocheting, quilting. I have quite a few little baby things going in the hopes that someday there'll be a little baby to give them to. And I love to read. I love to take walks, and I just like anything that's with my family. Pow and a wow. For me, my pow would be when my grandmother passed. Um, she really was my mom. She was more of my mom than my mom was. And I am the woman I am today because of her. So when she passed in 1999, um, it was really an eye opener for how much she had actually contributed to my life. And an awesome moment, that's hard to name just one because I feel like I really do try to focus on those joyful moments that happen. I would say the recent awesome moment was being able to go to Disney with my son-in-law and daughter, which is where I got COVID, um, and have just a really nice time and be afforded that blessing, which we don't get to have too much because it's quite an expensive trip to do. And I don't need to know if I need to have lunch with myself because I eat with myself every day. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to go through the course syllabus with you. Obviously, you can't ask questions because I'm not live with you, but please feel free to write them down as I go through it. Email me or just wait for my return and ask them directly. So let me just flip screens here. Hopefully it flips for you as well. If not, I did email everyone the syllabus this morning. So this class meets from 8:45 to 11:30 with a prompt start time of 9. So please make sure to take that 15 minutes, not to get yourself that quick cup of coffee on your way in, but to make sure that you're in the room settled, laptop open or notebook open or whatever your choice for taking notes is, and ready to go. We are in R301, and my email is ttallman@njcu.edu. The Blackboard module will be open supposedly starting Tuesdays, and I will go through that with you tomorrow since that's going to be new for you. That's sort of a one place fits all depository of everything you need for this class. I love, love, love Blackboard. Um, and I'm a little sad that it's not available to us yet, but tomorrow I will go through that with you. So anything that you need for this class is going to be on there. So I'm going to just kind of skip over the course description because I'll go over that in a later slide. I do encourage you to go through the learning outcomes because they're important. What are you going to be getting out of this class? Well, writing, critical thinking and problem solving, um, cross-disciplinary literacy, personal literacy, etc. So these are only some of the readings. They actually should be most of them. I really don't like my students to purchase any reading materials because unless it's something that truly moves you and you are madly in love with, I don't want you to be spending your money on something that in a year from now you might pitch because you don't even remember what class you had it for. But hopefully, I'll be so endearing to you that you'll be like, oh my gosh, that was from Dr. Tolman's class. And I loved her class and I want to keep this reading. I have found either a way to put it on Blackboard. If I could not find a website that had it, then I just purchased the materials myself, made a copy, and posted it on Blackboard for you. So don't worry about any videos or readings that we need for this class, everything is on the syllabus and or Blackboard. Okay, please also make sure that you take a look at the academic integrity and plagiarism. Plagiarism does include taking a direct sentence from a book and changing a couple of words so that it looks like yours. And we're going to talk about that with writing this semester. Your words are important and your words have meaning. And I want to hear what you have to say. You don't need someone else's words. You need them to justify what you're thinking, but you have your own thoughts and can absolutely begin expressing those on paper. And that's where I come in to help. If you're a special needs learner, um, our diversity statement and any incomplete grades and late papers policy, which we won't even have to read because that's not going to happen. You have a total of 215 points that you can earn for this course. And let me go through it. So 15 points, because there's roughly 15 classes for the 15 weeks of a regular semester, a point per class. So attendance is mandatory, obviously, and you're here anyway, so you might as well show up to class. Um, and that's worth 15 points. So just showing up, you're doing great. Then there are in-class assignments that we will be doing. Again, easy peasy, another 80 points. Okay, your final is an action plan for social justice. So let me tell you a little bit about what that is, but I don't want you to get overwhelmed because it will really become much more clear as we go through the course. So one of the things we're going to do are advertisements with a small group. You're going to evaluate advertisements on TV and social media and magazines and talk about the stereotypes in that ad. And how can we fight stereotypes? Is there equal representation? And by equal representation, you're going to come to really know what that means. And that's not necessarily just, are there men and women? Are there people of color in the ad? It's really much, much bigger than that. And we're going to identify all those different areas. And then you're going to give me ideas on how those ads can improve, if there's bias, and how it can be minimized. And one of the things we're going to talk about this course is how we all come with some internal bias. And it's okay. We have to just admit that it's there so that we can grow as individuals. Part two, which is super, super fun, is a children's book. The purpose of this assignment is for you to examine the historical myths or half truths that textbooks or classroom resources present. Research the accurate or critical interpretation of the topic and create a book that shares both the historical myths or half truths as well as the truth found through your research. I'll have some examples of this to share with you, but this is a really fun project. So basically, you pick your topics. So, say, for example, and I gave you some possible topics, the story of Pocahontas. And you say, well, gee, there are a lot of half truths in there. You're going to find some credible scholarly sources. You're going to research different interpretations of the event. And then you're going to compare in a children's book format what is in a history book that is missing, that has inaccuracies, what was in that book, and what is actually now what should be taught. What is the whole and complete truth as we know it right now? You'll have a title, a dedication page, a table of contents, a comparison of your research, a description of the myth. You'll have pictures. It'll be super fun. And wait till I show you the examples that other students have done in this class. I think you'll be really excited about this topic. And then the third is your philosophy. So, after we discuss all the different things that we do in this class, you're going to really commit to a value statement, a philosophy that you express in writing. Um, how your own experiences, past and present, inform your beliefs and values surrounding diversity and inclusion. In addition, you are asked to discuss how your understanding of your identities, such as race, gender, or gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, class, ability, status, immigration status, and religion, around which you experience some level of privilege and or marginalization, and how they have been influenced by this course. It's not something that necessarily is going to stay your value statement. It shouldn't stay your value statement. It should be something that as you grow and learn and move through life, those philosophies change. But it will be interesting to know what that philosophy is after you've experienced all the modules in this course. And then there are 3 reflection papers, 2 to 3 pages in length. And I will give you each course topic as we come along. Again, please don't feel overwhelmed. Take a deep breath. I'm really just going through this so that you understand what's coming, not so that you have anxiety about it. I promise you're going to have more than enough time to get all of this done, including class time. And you're going to have more than enough help from myself, from the tutors, and from your own classmates. Pardon me. So let's go through the schedule. Sorry for the barking puppy. So today, the icebreakers, which we just did, the syllabus review, which we're doing now. And then I'm going to instruct you to do the who are you? And we're going to go through the 4A's reading protocol. I'm going to do a small workshop with you about writing. And then that's it for today. We're not going to worry about tomorrow because tomorrow isn't here. We're just going to focus on today. In green, just so you are aware, are the different writing workshops that are coming up. I am going to do 4 of them with you. And then you are going to work on, I believe, 5. Oh, excuse me, 4. And we're going to do them as a jigsaw. If you're not familiar with what a jigsaw is, I'm going to give you a section of reading to your group, and you are going to extract all the things that you think are important from that reading, and you are going to present it to the class as a writing workshop. And that'll become a little more obvious as we go and as I go through my lessons first to kind of show you how to set that up. But all of you will be responsible for those starting next week, and I will assign groups and topics the second I'm back, which is hopefully Tuesday, but if not Wednesday. In purple are your assignments. Please don't do them in advance because you won't know what to do. What I would like you to do in advance of every class is read through anything that's in blue. As far as tomorrow, please don't worry about it yet because these are all actually short videos that I want to watch with you together in class. And then we're going to do a small 2 to 3 paragraph compare and contrast. But for Wednesday, for example, I would really like you to click on these links and read these 3 in advance of class. None of them are more than 4 pages long, so there's not a ton of reading because I realize that you don't have a ton of time. And you're also taking math. So I'm aware of your limitations, and I think I've constructed this course to be challenging but not impossible. Again, if you're uncomfortable with the amount of work, that's a good thing. That means you're growing. That means you're challenging yourself. That means you need to work on maybe time management or writing or reading or whatever it is that's giving you some consternation. If you're finding it not able to be done, then you and I will have to conference to figure out where it is that you're having problems and adjust, tweak whatever we need to so that you can keep up. It is a little bit of an accelerated timeline because it is an accelerated course, because it is an honors course, because you guys are all smart. That's why you're here. So I'm not too worried, but I don't want that to stop you either. If you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, I don't want you to have anxiety. I want you to reach out, and I am accessible via email at all times. And it's on the syllabus. You have already received an email of welcome from me. Please don't message me on Blackboard, which will be open up on Tuesday, because I don't get notification that I have messages there. Always, always, always through email is your best bet. And as you can see, I've constructed every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday um, around themes. So today was about culture, which is a little bit. We're kind of going to get to more of that tomorrow. But the questions that I've asked you to email me, the who are you worksheet, that's kind of tell you about who you are, and it's more importantly going to tell me who you are. And then we'll have more of a discussion on culture tomorrow. Um, Tuesday is on reflection. Wednesday is on language. Next week, we're going to be talking about ethnicity and cultural intelligence, about race, microaggressions, implicit bias, and intersectionality, and sexism. The following week, we'll be looking at ableism and ageism. And you may or may not know what all of these things are. You're going to learn. And then we're going to get right into our group work for your social justice projects, for your ads, for your children's books, which you'll be working on prior to that as well. So there's not a huge crunch. You'll have plenty of time. Um, and your philosophy statements. Okay. The purple, like I said, are assignments for that class period, so you don't have to worry about having them done in advance. That's for in class. But I would like you to please have whatever is in blue done prior to class, except for today, obviously, and tomorrow. But beginning Wednesday, if you could have these 3 articles read for Wednesday's class, that would be ideal. And then I think the only other thing I have to go over with you, okay, so the pink is where I'm introducing the part 2 of the social justice project. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about that, because you need to get started on those children's books because they're a lot of work. We're doing it again here. Okay, and then in red, reflection paper 1 due. And your topic for your philosophy statement is due. Again, this is going to become easier as we go and as we are talking about this stuff every day. Reflection paper 2 is due the 20th. Oh, and I'm sorry, I only did 2, and I did them at 7.5 points each instead of 3, because I felt like 3 was too much. So see, I was refining as I went. So the reflection papers are these reading responses, okay, where you record your thoughts, feelings, reactions, opinions, connections, questions, reactions related to the assigned reading. They encourage students to think deeply about the materials they read and reflect and raise questions about the text. The responses must be submitted through Blackboard by 11:59 on the assigned date. When more than one chapter or reading is assigned, you are only required to respond to 1. So what does that mean? So reflection paper 1, we will have talked about sexism, racism, ethnicity, language, and culture. So you can take any of those readings. Okay, so let's say you really liked the reading Finding by Identity. You're going to go through, and it's in 12-point font, double spaced. All of the directions are here, 1 to 2 pages in length. Okay, a 2 to 4 sentence summary of the reading. Okay, 2 to 4 sentences, not 2 to 4 paragraphs. 2 to 4 sentences, what the reading was about. And then you're going to choose one. Did you have questions about the text? Was there something that confused you or seemed unclear? Um, could you answer that question? I'm sorry. You could choose to react. What were your reactions to the writer, to the information that you digested, to the ideas that were presented in the text? What did you like? What did you not like? What made sense? What didn't make sense? Or you could choose to relate. Hey, I really felt like the writer in finding my identity, and make the connections, make them in a strong and meaningful way. Use I statements. Tell me why you connected. Tell me how your story was like their story. You could choose to reflect. What thoughts or associations did the reading inspire? Why? What do you think or believe that you didn't think or believe before? Um, Monitoring your understanding. If you got bogged down in the reading, if you lost track of time, if you kind of got lost, what did you do to overcome this? What about it confused you? What made it a struggle to get through? How did you overcome that? How were you then successful in comprehending the reading? What did you do that was special? Um, you could choose to anticipate. What do you think will happen if this author was to write a sequel to this article? What would they write? If this article was written today, this minute, what would they write? Because things are happening all the time. So no matter how recent the readings that you're reading, it's never current enough. Um, you could choose to revise a hypothesis. Based on initial information, we form expectations about how information will unfold, what the author has in mind, etc. But as we read, some of them change. So maybe you're thinking, the way he uses identity in the title is perhaps something about Asian culture, or people who have been aggressive towards Asians, and maybe as you read, you either that proved to be true, or no, that's not actually what he was saying, um, and talk about that. You can evaluate the reading. What'd you like? What didn't you like? What were the good points and the bad points? What could the author do to improve it for you? um, you could prioritize. What do you think was the most important part of that reading and why? Or you could organize, create a chart, diagram, or a map to help you organize ideas and key points from the meeting, and then briefly explain the purpose and the structure. Like, why were those things important? So, again, you can choose any of the articles we've read up to the date that response is due, and any of these strategies, but just one. Okay. So over the course of 2 reading responses, you're only going to be using 2 of these strategies. You can't use the same one twice. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, it's okay. I'm going to explain it again long before the reading response is due. And I believe the first one is due, um, I think they're called reflection papers. I'm going to have to change them. I'm sorry, it should be response. Is due the 18th. So we have some time. And I will be back in class at some point this week, once I am no longer positive. So my goal for every class, again, is between 8:45 and 9 o'clock. You're getting in, you're getting settled, saying hi to all your friends, loading up the syllabus or the readings or whatever it is you need. And then I'm going to give you direct instruction for that first hour. So from 9 to 10, it's me telling you what you need, setting you up for that day's lecture. From 10 to 10:30 is the group work. 10:30 we'll take a break for 15 minutes. From 10:45 to 11:15, you'll have a jigsaw presentation based on the group work. 11:15 to 11:45, you will do individual writing, and then 11:45 to 12 are questions. Now, this group work could be something that you're doing specific to that class that day, or it could be work involved in your group project, like the children's book. So for example, if we just scroll up, Compose a short essay of 2 to 3 paragraphs comparing the power and focus of each speech. Think about the single story and the windows versus mirrors. So compare in groups of 3. That will be your group work for Tuesday. So from 10 to 11, we'll be talking about the things that we'll be watching, and we'll be watching them. Excuse me, from 9 to 10. Then from 10 to 10:30, you're going to be writing separately but together. Take a break, join back up, and kind of compare the different groups and what everybody learned from the power and focus of each speech. And then you'll each take it home individually, take all the high points that everyone gave you, take the critiques and criticisms and praises, and rewrite and submit that original essay. And then other than that, the group discussions are kind of always focused around the same thing. How is the topic that we talked about that day, how is it linked to social justice? Give an example from a life experience. Um, sorry. Have you experienced or perpetrated it? Did you have a question or tension from class that remains unresolved? Did you have a problem related to the topic we talked about and social justice that you'd like to propose and defend a particular solution for? So we're kind of all over the map on talking about different things that relate to language and social justice, our feelings, and expressing all of that in writing. So I want to make it clear that there are a lot of things that can come up over the course of this semester. And there are things that have come up when I've taught this class before. But the respect that you all have for each other and for me and for the topics and the amount of passion you have as future game changers of the world inspires me to teach this class as often as I can. I learn from you. I am moved by you. Um, just as much as hopefully you learn from me. So we're going to learn together. There are great things we're going to accomplish together, and I'm really, really excited. So again, please don't be nervous. It looks like a lot of work. We're going to blink and it's going to be over. So I do want to just hop back to the slides. What is this class? It's a course that explains the ways in which academic language provides opportunities for socioeconomic mobility and empowers students to act as their own agents of change in a larger social environment. What does that mean? That means that you are tomorrow's game changers. That's what that means. You're running the world. You're taking care of the elderly in nursing homes. You're teaching the future students. You're doctoring and nursing the sick patients in the world. You're running for mayor, for town council, for president, for senate, for whatever, the board of education. You're the game changers. And hopefully this course helps you understand that being a game changer is all about language. It's great to have passion. It's great to, quote, take a side, but a real game changer doesn't take sides, sees through both lenses, and says, okay, how can I make the change that's needed here? And standing and screaming and yelling and carrying a flag of, of whatever it is I'm passionate for isn't going to make others think like me. Sitting down and having discussions, sitting down and writing out my thoughts in emails, in letters, in tomorrow's laws, that makes me a game changer. Because people follow leaders. To be a leader doesn't mean to be bossy. To be a leader means you are someone who others believe is a good person, lives a good life, stands for good things, and they naturally want to be like you. And so they follow in your footsteps because they laud the way that you do things. Um, this class will be the first of many that will help to give you an educated voice, that will give you the power to earn money and to change unjust situations. You will investigate specific ways in which literacy and learning strategies can be employed in different academic disciplines to ensure scholarly and professional advancement. This course really is conducted as a seminar, which means a group of advanced students studying under a professor, with each doing original research and all exchanging results through reports and discussions. In this class, you will be exploring these strategies which help you learn most efficiently. You will be discussing some specifically assigned topics, and you will be sharing your knowledge, thoughts, and research with your classmates. So let's practice. So, a simple way to do all of the things I just went through on the course syllabus is the 4 A's: assumptions, agree, argue, aspire. And I'm going to include this. I'll send you the link for this as well. So if I click on this link, it's the 4 A's protocol, which is pretty simple. So to explore text deeply in light of one's own values and intentions, okay? We don't need the, well, I mean, the tutor and myself will both be, Miss Sanders will be the timekeeper. But what I need you to do is each of you will read the text silently. You'll highlight it, you'll write notes in the margin or sticky notes or on a little scrap piece of paper. What assumptions does the author of the text hold? So the person writing the article, what assumptions did they have about what they were talking about? What did you agree with? Second A. What do you want to argue? Okay, argue meaning something that you want to challenge that author about. I disagreed on X and this is why. Um, and finally, what you want to aspire to or act upon. What do you want to see change? So the thing that you disagreed with that the author may have said, or the thing that you wanted to challenge. If the author were to go back again and write the article after they sat and talked to you, what do you aspire that author to have learned from your interaction? What do you want them to have changed in the writing of that article? And then you'll simply kind of go around and talk about your assumptions, what you agreed with, what you argued with, and what you aspire to. Um, and that's it. Pretty simple. So let's go back. And then using the 4 A's, you're going to complete it using the following article: mental health check. Again, I'm going to send you this link too. You should have this in your email by now. Okay, you're going to read it individually, and then you are going to write down individually the 4 A's. Then once you have that written down, you've picked your little group, you'll come back together and you'll go through them. It should take about 10 minutes. And this is a pretty recent article. And it's pretty quick, so it shouldn't be too hard to read through. Um, if there are not enough of you to put four in a group, totally okay. There could be two of you and you each take two things. Or I mean, you each have to do all four anyway, so it doesn't matter. So groups of 2, 3, 4, whatever works. Um, and then you can share in whatever way works. I suggest that Miss Sanders, you pause the screencastify here and allow 10 to 12 minutes for this. So now that you have a good feel on how to do assumptions, agreements, arguments, and aspirations, um, I would like you now to look at selecting a strategy. That's not linking correctly. Okay, just have to move it. Okay. Actually, I changed my mind. I'd like you to take one of these four that you just worked on: the assumptions, agreements, argument, and aspire. Pick one of them for the following article and pretend like you're going to write a paper either talking about the assumptions that the article has made, or what you agree with on the article, or the arguments you have with the article, or the aspirations that you would like the author to act upon in the article. And that article is demystifying the mind. So again, get together with that same group that you just did all four with. Read Demystifying the Mind. And then choose one. And it's a little bit tricky to do it with this particular article. But I think it's good practice. Does the author make certain assumptions? Are there things that you agree with? Are there things that you want to argue? How would you build a better article? Is it already a great article? Did the author make assumptions about mental health that you took issue with? And where do you aspire this article to be if it was rewritten right now? And I don't think it was rewritten that long ago. I think it was actually, oh no, spring of 2019. So right before the pandemic, which is why I think I chose it. Miss Sanders, I would again pause here for another 10 to 12 minutes. Just keep all of the things that you're writing, um, and I will tell you how to submit them to me once Blackboard is open. And you can write this together as a group. This one can be together as a group. Again, I would pause it here for 10 to 12 minutes for them to do number 2 on here. Okay, so at this point, if my timing is correct, it should be approximately 10:15. Okay, and we are on our last slide for today, which is our first writing workshop, which is what is college writing? So let's talk a little bit about the writing process. So every writer gets overwhelmed. As college freshmen, don't be nervous about that. I have my doctorate, and my dissertation, which was a 176-page paper, was worse than giving birth. I say that because writing is overwhelming. If you're researching, if you're analyzing, if you're reporting your results, if you're putting it all together in your own words, even if it's something creative, that blank page is very daunting. I want you to breathe. I want you to relax. No one is here to fail my class, and I have no intention of failing anyone in this class. You're all going to do swimmingly well. I want you to take the grading aspect out of this class, and I want you to focus on what is the joy that I can derive from writing. And every writer's process is unique. You have to plan, you have to pre write, you have to write, and you have to revise. If you haven't rewritten something at least twice, you're not doing it right. Um, so let's talk a little bit about pre writing, that big picture. Okay. So you just read Toolkit for Demystifying the Mind. You took exception to some of the viewpoints that the author held. You have some arguments that you want to make on it. Just trying to find where I just put that. Oh no. Okay. And I think this is a good place to start because arguments are where you feel the most passion, right? I disagree with what the author said. I've suffered from mental health issues and that's not how it works, or he didn't hit all the domains, or he didn't really talk about how it really affects you. And this is pre-pandemic and now things are much worse. Whatever it is. So, write it down. Just throw it on a piece of paper what your reaction is to the article that you just read. And then walk away. Give yourself a few minutes, maybe a couple hours, and then go back and say, okay, if I really want to see a change, and this author was sitting in front of me, what would I tell him or her? How would I want to see this change invoked? What is my position on what it is this article is about? And what are other experts saying? Because here's the deal with writing. Here's the deal with scholarly writing. It's going to hurt to hear it, but it's the truth. No one actually cares about your opinion because you're not a published author. Except me. I do. But here's how to get everyone to care about your opinion. Find someone who is published who shares your opinion. And that's easy to do. There's different ways to do the research, including Google searches, but you have to be very specific with the keywords. And I'm not going to give you too much information on that yet because there's one other thing you have to do for me today. But do some formal research. What are the experts saying on mental health? Who is someone out there that agrees with what you have to say? And note them. Maybe a direct quote, maybe paraphrase something powerful or important that they said, and put that into your paper. Don't worry about where you're putting it yet. Just say, ooh, that's the quote I want to use, and don't forget to cite it. And then take your position and the experts and blend them together. Why this balance? Because too much of anything isn't a good thing. Your opinion is great, but nobody cares about your opinion because you're not a published author. So, if I'm a scholar and I speak to you, well, what do you know? You're a college freshman. Well, hey, I know a lot. I've experienced mental health issues, or I have family that's experienced them, or I'm aware. And you know what? I'm not just a college freshman. I've actually looked things up. I have experts that back up my opinion, and I think it would be good for you to understand what those are. And on the flip side, you don't want too much of an expert, because if I wanted just that expert's opinions, I would read their paper. I want your opinion, but I want you to back it up with what other people who are published have said that agree with you. So you've done your research, you've picked your powerful quotes, You have your position, um, and now you kind of plan it out. What exactly is the assignment expectations? Okay, well, she asked me to pick one of the four A's and write about it. Okay, well, I'm arguing the paper, so I've already done that. I brainstormed my ideas. I disagreed with, A, B, and C. And I have found experts that back up why it's okay for me to have disagreed. Um, I've done research to familiarize myself with the topic, but it's important here too to do the research on the opposite side. Okay, so I disagreed, but what experts agree with the author? And sometimes it will change your mind. Sometimes it won't, but sometimes it will. I know I've done enough research. Sometimes I go into something thinking X, read about why I'm right, find all the people that back why I'm right, and then look into, well, why does the author think that? And look for information that supports his claim and say, oh, you know what? I kind of get it now. So, if you're going to make an argument about something, it's really critical that you know both sides. And that all comes from research. Just reading different articles. You don't have to take a quote from everything. Just literally read and educate yourself on the topic. Um, Add your thoughts. As you're reading different articles, you can paraphrase them. You don't have, I mean, you're going to cite the article that you read it, but you don't have to in text cite anything if you haven't taken a direct quote. And if all of that sounds like Swahili to you, don't worry. We can go through MLA citations. But another great website is just to Google MLA citations. Purdue OWL is an excellent resource. Add your formal research and your notes to your little organizational chart that you've made, and then just start writing. Okay, so now I have what I want to do. I have the research from both sides, and maybe I agree. Okay, maybe instead of arguing, you agree with the article. Okay, you back up other experts that agree with you. Um, and then look for those ones, on the opposite side that have argued. Perhaps you chose that the author made certain assumptions. Well, it was written in 2019. A pandemic happened. It's now 3 years later. You can back up why you felt the author made assumptions. Look at the research, look at all that has changed. Those things were proven not to be true or were proven to be true. The author was correct in their assumptions. And you're just kind of taking notes. It's just this blurb of notes. And then once you have everything you want to do sort of sketched out, put it in an order. Okay, well, now I have to um, have an introduction, have a body, have a conclusion. My introduction needs to say what this paper is about. My conclusion needs to sum up what this paper was about. And my body has to be what this paper is about. Okay, it's your ideas with the experts' ideas and the connections between the two. It doesn't follow a strict order, it's unique to you. But the goal is the pursuit of knowledge for yourself and for others that are going to be reading your paper. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. Miss Sanders, stop here because this workshop is for tomorrow. This should put our time at approximately 10:30. Maybe a little bit before, at which point I want to give you the last thing that you have. So, we have been asked to do a pre-assessment of your writing and a post-assessment. They will be the exact same thing. One will measure what you know right now prior to the course, and one will measure um, what you've learned following these next 4 weeks. Okay, so let's just go through that. This pre assessment is due Wednesday by 5 p.m. Miss Sanders and I are going to be giving you this next hour to get it started, either in class or at the library. I suggest the library. There are some great resources there, and while you can have many, many things in a Google search, if you know how to do it correctly, I think it's also really important that you look at books and magazines, and even potentially ask the librarian for all of the resources that the university provides online. I'm sure they have like a how-to sheet of how to access all the journals and articles that are free to NJCU students. Because many of the things that you'll try to look up, and again, you never want someone's opinion. You want scholarly writing. That means it's been peer reviewed. That means it's been published in an academic journal of some kind, and it's not a blog or a wiki space or, what Joe Blow from Idaho wants you to know about, 6 feet of snow. I was going with alliteration there. Um, Actually rhyming, sorry. So your initial assessment, your cover page, which you are going to attach to your writing. So the very first page is your name, your NJCU ID number, and your email. The topic that you have chosen, and then attached to that is 2 pages, double spaced, 12-point font. You're going to email the cover page and writing sample as one attachment to me. If you have the little scanner app, you can do it by that. It's free. If not, take a picture, make sure it's a good picture and has no reflection on it, and you can send that as an attachment, whatever works. So this assignment is designed to help you research an issue you are interested in or would like to learn more about. From there, you will learn to articulate a strong argument for your views by using reason, empathy, and evidence. Your argument, sorry, that should have been a period there. Your argument will need a strong, clear thesis that is well supported. This thesis should be stated before providing examples and support material to back up your argument. Again, going back to that pre writing strategy slide, your thesis is simply what it is you're writing about. Okay? What it is you feel about that. A strong argument will not be complete without some outside research. You are to use at least 3 outside sources for this assignment, and your source material should be carefully reviewed and selected. Normally, you should be using source material that is as objective as possible, not someone's website with an opinion. You should also move beyond Google searches and sources that anyone can find immediately. These sources must be cited within the paper and in the Works Cited page at the end of your paper using MLA format. A strong argument paper will provide a concise and clear claim supported by sound reasoning and specific examples and illustrations. It will also carefully consider and engage other sides of that argument. The audience for this paper is those who would oppose your claim, those who think differently. Do not forget this. In order to address them properly, you must ask yourself, what will get their attention, and hold it. You need to remember that it can be very difficult, perhaps impossible, to change some people's minds. That is not your job. Rather, your goal is to intelligently argue a side of an issue to demonstrate that reasonable people can have differing opinions and that understanding and discussions are preferred over intolerance and name calling. Also, remember to not limit yourself to black and white. There are often more than 2 sides to an argument. Keep multiple perspectives in mind to help the quality of your work. Finally, carefully consider any uses of first person in this essay to help better establish objectivity and reach this target audience. That means try not to use I statements in this essay, because you don't want it coming across as this is what I think you should believe. You want it more to be, this is really what you should believe, and here are the reasons why. As the grader of your work, I want to stress that I do not have to agree with your stance for you to do well on this paper. Evidence of critical thought and research, as well as strong writing, will be the determining factors on this essay. So you are to choose a topic, conduct your research, develop an argument, find supporting evidence, create an outline, your intro, body, and conclusion. I don't know why that is weird. Sorry. Okay. Write, edit, rewrite. You may choose one of the following topics. Are men and women equally emotional? Are parents responsible for childhood obesity? Do you think that college should be free? Do you think that beauty standards should be more inclusive? Are all college majors equally essential? Meaning, if I'm in the nursing program, is that as important as an arts program, as a teaching program, as a business program, etc.? Do you think that all internships should be paid? So, those are your choice of topics. I cannot give you any help in terms of MLA citations or how to do the research because this is strictly a pre assessment. It is not going towards your grade, it is to compare how you do at the beginning of this class versus the end of this class. It's for both yourself and, and future writing teachers, um, but largely for myself and for the program as well. Okay. So don't stress, but do your best. What you don't know, please look up. Please research. Please try to answer your own questions. And it's pretty easy in this age of technology. Miss Sanders is going to dismiss you soon to go ahead and either do this in class, but I seriously recommend the library. Because again, I'm sure they have some type of handout that gives you the instructions on how to access New Jersey City University's archive of articles and research. Because many of the things that you will find that look great, you have to pay to download, you have to pay to subscribe to, and part of being a part of a university is access to that information for free. This is due at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. You have, roughly an hour to get a nice jump on it now. And hopefully, I will be with you tomorrow, which is Tuesday. Any questions, any problems, anything that you want to discuss with me, along with the questions I asked you at the beginning, please feel free to email me. And God willing, I will be live and on campus tomorrow to help you with all of those things. But if not, we'll take it from there. Each day is a new day. Miss Sanders, thank you so much for being the body in the classroom, taking my place. And I hope you all have an excellent rest of your day, a good math session, and I am looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. There is no homework for tomorrow's class. Any extra time that you may have, which probably in these early days you might have a little more than as you go through, try to get this pre-assessment finished because it should have at least one rewrite before you submit it. I do want your best work. Okay, all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for your time and attention. And I will hopefully see you tomorrow.